Only raise your hand if you have a question.
Been absolutely captivated by the pursuit for truth. And I've seen in your writings that you are kind of looking for the one to share your discoveries of truth with. And that's always been like a source of interest to me, very much so.
Well, I would say I'm not really looking for the one to share my discoveries with. I actually just enjoy writing about them. If a client happens to happen, those things kind of happen organically. But I'm not really looking. I'm not like waiting for someone to share my discoveries with.
I see. I've just for my own kind of improving my own existence and my experience, I've been doing everything I can to, learn the truths about money so I can learn more content that you've put out. And I would like to just learn more. And given that you are kind of the only source that I could find that I resonate with, I do want to pursue. And I was wondering if you had any words for me at this stage where I am very sincere, but economically I'm not at a place where I can pursue. Is it just a time thing? I am working on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand. I don't know how much volume of, copious volumes of stuff that's out there for free. So, and I have Direct Truth podcasts, which are for sale. But besides that, I have many things for free that are available. So, you're welcome to, peruse that.
Thank you very much.
So even after me getting exposed to the truths that I read from your observations, but the thing is that at that time I feel that the state of understanding is there, but after some time that you see the mind comes in, and you see the default state comes again, and then it takes
has
over.
to, right? It has to, because your primary and overwhelming majority of exposure is to the world. So whatever you are exposed to most is what's going to be getting inside you.
Hi. So last few months, I'm reading some spiritual books and everything, and I'm trying to understand like how everything is working. So the one experience I'm having is when I wake up in the morning, my mind is totally calmed down. Now, first thing when I check my phone, maybe my first email, if I explain it as a computer language, the one window open up. And before I finish my email or something else come up, the second window open up. Then I got a call from something, or something is happening. So the window is keep opening up kind of. And that's how I see that, like, all the stress is building up kind of. What do you recommend to reduce the stress? Or
are you new to my work?
Yes.
Okay. I don't give methods and techniques and things to help with this or that. I talk about truth. I'm not here to give prescriptions, how-tos, methods. Those things are irrelevant to me. Those things are not something that I'm interested in. I don't believe in how-tos and what do I suggest and what should you do. I think it takes a long time for someone to actually ask a question in this domain, because they have to familiarize them with who I am and what I write about if they wish. They don't have to. But if you come to this without knowing my work, then you're going to ask a question that you're going to ask to like experts, which is, what 5 steps can I do to help this? Those things are not at all what I do, and I don't have any regard for those things. So if you have any interest in my work, then maybe you'll spend some time reading into it if you wish. You don't have to. And it might resonate with you, it might not. But if you're looking for methods and how-tos, this is not the place.
Some of your truths immediately resonate with me based on my experience. But then there are also other truths, like the truth of no self, where it seems so out of bounds of one's own experience, because it's almost like a telescope can't see itself. Everything I experience is through myself. And I was just wondering, besides exposure, are there experiences one can have to sort of sense that?
I mean, I think chasing experiences, I think, is a waste of time. It's just like, drinking a, sweet tasting drink, those things don't last. They don't go anywhere. Everyone is chasing experiences all around the world. Those things, all that felt so nice. I mean, I think those things are a waste of time, in my opinion, as far as if one is looking for a lasting value of anything. And so there's nothing that I can recommend to realize truths. It's just through exposure, and I'm not even going to sit here and tell you that if you expose, then this will happen. I don't know what will happen. Everything depends upon where you are, not really where I am. So, if something happens to resonate, it tends to catch hold immediately, as you have mentioned yourself, and the things that don't, they don't. And so, it isn't like you're failing the class or anything like that. It's whatever happens to resonate at the time that it resonates. Everything is very organic. Everything has to be very natural. And I think the attempt to push something into understanding doesn't work. Things have to be natural and organic and happen in their own time, if they happen at all. And in any sense of speeding it up or all that will do is encourage you to find tricks and tips to try to do that, and then you're back to prescription land again.
Hello, sir. My name is Aman. Sir, I have a question regarding the investigation of truth. There is a problem that I face that sometimes I will have a direct insight through direct perception, and it will cut through the suffering immediately. But next time, when I look into the same insight, the problem that comes with me is that the first time when I was looking into a fact or investigating into something, the mind was in a innocent state of inquiry. But once I have the insight, the mind goes into the I know mind state, like I already know it. So the next time when I try to look into that same insight, then the mind goes from the position, instead of the position of that I don't know and I'm going to investigate, it goes with the position of that I already know and I'm going to now see that I already know. But when I go with that state of mind, it just doesn't work. Like it becomes intellectual, and that clarity of the perception doesn't come to me. And despite seeing this, my mind still keeps on doing it. Like the first time the insight is clear, but the second time,
So one
when
has to understand that there's when one lives inside of their mind, there's all kinds of things like this that happen. One's entire life is lived inside the mind, so it doesn't matter what the detail is. It's all imprisonment, and it's all confusion. So that's why the ultimate journey is to go beyond the mind. But that can't tell you that there's no prescription for that. There's no if you do this or that. And so all things are about systematic journeys. towards whatever the goal of one's person is, whatever moves him, whatever he's heartfelt about, whatever he's driven by. And the unfortunate reality is that the vast majority of human beings, with the exception of maybe 3, will spend their whole lives living inside the mind and never really knowing the truth, just playing games left and right. Not because they want to play games, but because of conditioning and not being serious enough to go on a journey, and all manner of reasons. And so, like, to raise a specific question, well, this is happening with my mind, it's kind of like sitting in mud and saying, well, what do I do about this speck of mud? It's all mud, right? So it's all just different manifestations of the same problems, and because it's all a manifestation of imprisonment.
I just want to say a few years ago when I was kind of 20 years old, I listened to you and I left home. And, I very early on, I was exposed to your work, and I did some bold things, and I relied on my instincts a lot. I would listen to you, and things kind of worked out for me. And somewhere along the way, I kind of stopped listening to you, not because anything, but just because I was going through life, and I'm in a space again where at one point I left home on a hunch, and without anything, and things worked out. I am at a point again where I'm about to do something kind of which isn't very practical, and I wanted to know if it's always worth listening to that instinct or the inner voice.
I don't know. I can't make blanket statements about that. It really depends. I can't really give a bunch of conditions as to when to listen and when not. I mean, it depends upon where one is, and it depends upon the situation. It depends on so many things. I can't make a blanket statement like that. That you should always just do that. I can't blatantly answer your question in the way that you're asking it.
But
hello, doctor. My question is, when your socially constructed identity burns away and you struggle to find meaning, you realize it's an illusion, is this collapse the end, or is it the beginning of a journey?
That's a too general of a question. I mean, it depends. It could be a temporary thing, or it could be not temporary. I don't know. It depends upon the person. I can't come in from the outside and knowing nothing about you or where you are and say it's this or that.
Hello, doctor. The time I think that I fix a problem, that after that time I think I fix a problem, the problem returns. Is it a trick of the mind or something?
Well, if the problem returns, then it can't be fixed, or it was not fixed.
Kapil, I seen a comment that you made on a post, which was basically how the definition that most people know about being smart, or like being gifted, which is a hard thing that most people believe in, but it seems like you have a different take. And I would like to know what's your take, and why do you think that the definition that we know is wrong? Thank you.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, it's basically how or understanding of being smart, basically, somehow create all these problems on the way that we think, and make things
because
basically
most people call smart is just memorizing the knowledge of bestseller books and experts, and that's just taking in the opinions of others. That doesn't make one smart. That just makes one a good memorizer.
I grew up in a household where my parents and the people around me, the family members, were giving importance to like astrology and the rituals. Basically, astrology. This question is about astrology. I've read your book, A Master Secret Whisper, Atman, where the gist is that when a human has a genuine desire, he or she can achieve anything. So, if like, does astrology play a part in humans' life or no? Thank you.
I mean, the question is too general. It's not specific enough. I think the best way I can answer it is I've done like, I don't know, three or four direct truth podcasts on astrology. And so it just depends upon the specifics of question. If you just say like it depends upon the specifics. So if you want, you can refer to that. That might answer your question, or it might not.
Hello, Kapil. I have intellectually understood that nothing works, and like whatever I will do, eventually all the feelings are transient. So these desires of achieving something, like these are futile in this feeling sense that this will give me something. Like I've understood this intellectually, but I think I have not been able to get it in my bones. And
Those
like,
things happen when it happens, if it happens at all.
Hello, Dr. Gupta. It's an honor to be on stage with you. I have been following your work for some years. So my question has to do around arriving at a place in which involuntary thought stops. Well, maybe not completely stops, but at least in a way it doesn't bothers me anymore, because I still see that a lot of involuntary thought arises even when I'm speaking with other people. And so I have seen the power of truth in other endeavors, in arriving at no longer having many chases, arriving sort of like well on my way towards freedom from attachment, and I don't know, freedom from future events. So I understand the power of truth and how it can transform someone, but still it seems like in this endeavor, in my mind, I still there's still a lot of involuntary thought.
I understand.
Hello, Dr. Gupta. Thank you for the opportunity. So my question is about given the fleeting nature of the mind, where feelings just arise and disappear. Is it truly possible for a conflict-free relationship to exist without having any need or any expectation, or is that just another never-ending chase that I'm after?
No, it's
Thank
absolutely possible. And I've written extensively about these things in relationship. I think I've written extensively about relationships and direct truth podcasts and secret writings and all kinds of things. It is absolutely possible. The problem is these things are not possible by way of prescriptive methodologies. That makes nothing really possible aside from mechanical and technical things. So anything that's heartfelt and anything that's on the emotional level or the mental level or the life level, that is not, obviously those things are not mechanical or technical. It is absolutely possible, but they aren't possible according to the realms that the human being has been exposed to, which is the world and society and the experts and the 5 tips and tricks and hacks and method techniques. It isn't possible through that. It's only possible through truth. So is it possible? Yes. But one will have to approach it by way of truth. Only then is it possible.
you very much.
I've written some about that too. You know, I think anything that's done, I think anything that's done by force doesn't really happen. But if a person genuinely wants to be sincere, um, I think they have the seeds for it. Otherwise, they wouldn't even want to be that way.
Namaste, Kapil, and thank you. Thank you for your work and the time. Um, so when I hear you speak or um, read you write about truths that are very very relevant to my situations, for example, things like need or success or attachments, um, and when they resonate with me, and they do resonate a lot, it absolutely affects a lasting transformation in me, and I have seen that in real life. And um, however, when I hear or read about some of the otherworldly things, such as enlightenment and no mind, transcending the mind, or no self, I I feel like, since I do not have any direct experience with it, they seem nothing more than beliefs to me, even though I have a very sincere longing and to pursue them. But in my mind, they are still concepts because I have no way to relate to them. So, uh, is is pursuing such things in such a state that I'm in, um, is that nothing more than a chase at this point to me?
I think you have to stick with the things that resonate with you and the things that the things that you're able to understand on a deeper than intellectual level. I think that's where I think that's the direction in which people have to go, and um, not try to chase things that are only at the conceptual level for them. And everyone's different, and it's not one person's good and the other person's bad or better or whatever it is. It's every human being must approach things from their own level of understanding. So if something's at a conceptual level, then that thing is not your thing, at least not at that particular moment in time.
So you're saying that if you are chasing for spiritual enlightenment, there is a less chance of getting it. But if you stop chasing it, there's a more chance of getting it.
No, like I told you before, I don't. Nothing that I say is going to make sense to you, not because of any lack of intelligence. It's just it's too far away. You're looking at things in an and or, if and or, but, this or that, black and white, left or right. You're just it's not going to come across.
What's the best way to approach it, considering
I think that, I think that's a very fair question. I would say, first of all, that, like, I'm not here to tell you that anything that I write or say or speak about or whatever it is good or whatever it is. I mean, it's everything's just whatever about what resonates with one particular human being, and if it resonates, it does, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And so I think the one thing I'll say, which really is not going to be heard, it has to be experienced, and that is that the human who comes to my work comes to it from having been exposed to the world for his whole life, and society, and the experts, and the blah blah blah, and the podcasters, and the influencers, and the media, and all of the worldly dogma. And as a result, he's coming from a place of assault. He's been assaulted, and he doesn't even know he's been assaulted. He's been brainwashed, and he doesn't even know he's been brainwashed. He's been conditioned, and he doesn't even know he's been conditioned. And he's been brainwashed and assaulted and conditioned into believing that if he does X, he will get Y. That's a complete lie. Those things can work in the setting of mechanical and technical things. But the human will then come to my work because he's used to 5 steps to become happy, 6 hacks to become this, 12 how-tos to become this, 19 steps to becoming more this. Those things are complete and utter garbage. And those are just tabloids. And they don't work. That's why they keep coming out, right? I mean, there's millions of them. That's why they're just throwaway paper. That's all they are. They're just content to keep the content coming, right? They're just for the masses. It's not for anybody serious. And the humans of the world are not serious. So it's a perfect fit. It's unserious things for unserious people. So, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. The problem is that when they come to my work, then they come and say, okay, well, what is your 5 steps? I have this problem. All these experts are recommending this. What do you recommend for what things do you think I should do? Do you think I should brush my teeth in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Because the science says, and the experts say, and the industry says, that's what they come with. And very, very, very understandably so, because that's all they've been exposed to. If all you've been exposed to your whole life is French, and you come to a place and they speak Swahili, all you can do is bring French, right? That's all you know. It's not your fault. But that doesn't change the fact that it's still you're in a land of Swahili. So that has to be understood, and that's not going to be understood, because why would you expect that you're about to enter a new sphere and new domain, right? Because every other sphere that you've entered have always been the experts in the 5 steps and the how-tos and the hacks and all that stuff. So why would you expect that coming in here would be any different? That's all you know. And so I think that's the shift. And either it does take place or it doesn't. And what people will do for years, not to be blamed at all, because you can't blame someone if that's all they've been exposed to. So what they will say is they will then say, okay, so what you're saying, they'll read something that I write, and there won't be even a shadow of a prescription within miles of what I write. But they'll turn it into one, right? And they'll say, oh, so what you're saying is I should do this. It's not at all. I didn't say anything about doing anything. But that's all. That's the only language they know. What is your tip, right? They will scour my work to find, okay, what's this guy's tip? So what's the take-home message then? Just tell me what do I need to do then? So you're saying I should do this? No. Okay, so then I shouldn't do that? No. I'm not saying you should do anything or not do anything. And that I think is such a disconnect that I don't think most get over that, because it's too much. It's too much of a going to Mars, right? This is Mars compared to the Earth. Mm-hmm. And that shift is too big. It's too big of a chasm for most people. And they will prescriptionize for years. They will see in my work things that I didn't say. They will turn it into something that they can turn into 5 steps. So I didn't give the 5 steps, but they'll make their own 5 steps out of what I said. And so it's like the book that I wrote a couple of years ago, whatever it was, There Is No How. It's the how-to, I think, is so deeply in the water. It's so deeply in the blood of the human, because of the exposure and the conditioning of the world, which is one giant how-to. It's all the world is. Then you can't expect someone to abandon their language, abandon their conditioning, abandon everything they know. That's just impractical. But having said that, I'm not going to teach how-tos. Well, I'm not going to do something that to me is completely the wrong way to go to begin with. It's nonsense, right? So on the one hand, I understand, but on the other hand, I'm not going to, that's not what I do, right? So it doesn't mean that you need to come on board with what I do, right? It has to resonate with you. So I think that probably the most apt thing I can say, because I think that is the trap that every human is inevitably going to fall into.
Is there a distinction, I guess, for the newer person as far as the work that you have that's behind a paywall, and I guess not trying to buy your way into development that you're not quite ready for?
I think it all depends upon resonance. I think all things depends upon what grabs a human being by the heart, and to whom it grabs by the heart, they want everything, right? They want to hear everything, and they want to read everything, and they want to read it for years and expose themselves for years. And I think that can be a very productive thing. But I don't recommend it, because it's not my recommendation that matters. What matters is, and not even, and what matters for the individual himself is that it grabbed him by the heart for whatever reason, and because it did, they don't want to leave anything on the table. And for other people, it doesn't grab them by the heart, right? It doesn't make sense to them. That's not, that's not, doesn't resonate with them, and so for them it's not. So everyone is different. So it just depends. It all depends upon you, right? It all depends upon the human himself as to what resonates and what doesn't, and not that it should or it shouldn't. But from what the pattern that seemed to keep coming up is that those people, for whom it resonates, for whatever reason I don't know why. You'd have to ask them. For whatever reason why it resonates and it touches their heart or it grabs them by the throat or whatever it is, then they want to go all the way and they want to read everything, and the free stuff, the paywall stuff, whatever it is. That's a completely personal, heartfelt thing, and so that's what one has to go by, is what resonates with them.
Thank you.
Hello, Kapil. Thank you so much for your time and for your work. I have a question around a natural desire. I feel like I had a major shift in my life quite some time ago, and a period of time that's felt like a huge sobering out of many things, like spirituality and many different beliefs that I've held my whole life about the world and my place in it. And I find myself in a state of what feels like just a lack of desire to create, and I'm wondering from your perspective whether, when one is to some degree beyond the conditioning of the world, whether that state is more akin to a state of desirelessness, or perhaps just.
I think you're already just describing that's how you feel, is a state of desirelessness.
Yes, that does. I suppose that there is a challenge within it. And perhaps it's part of the conditioning that that makes me feel that that there naturally is a longing or desire that perpetuates one towards something in life, that I observe in other people, or maybe even you, with the way sort of truth, what seems like truth makes you productive in a certain way. It's something you can't help. And I wonder whether simply different people arrive at different states.
Different people are different people. All you can do is what's inside yourself. So it doesn't matter what other people are or not. All you can describe is where you are with things.
question more specifically during this time. So ever since being exposed to your work since 2019, 2020, I don't quite remember, I basically everything clicked. I put all the noise away, the media, the conditioning, the world, and I went searching within my desires and what I want from the world and what naturally pulls me towards itself. Up until a few months ago, when this situation started in the Middle East, and where I'm from originally, and I thought, well, maybe this time I could sort of do some research and understand and this and that. And now, 3 months after, everything feels like it was the same thing. Like it's so hard to put it in words because when I sought within to keep my peace, to continue searching for truth, and to devote myself, I was undisturbed by religion and politics and what this person says about that idea or this ism or this 5-step or whatever, all that nonsense. I was free from it. But after this situation started again, I was like, hold on a second, there is still a part of me that is pulled towards the noise. That this nonsense, this constant fight, there is some attraction that pulls me towards itself and enables enables a sense of curiosity in me, where I'm thinking, is there something I can do?
That's what I keep talking about. That's what I've said a million times. Is because of the exposure, the bulk of your exposure is to the world.
That's right.
If the bulk of your exposure is to the world, then that's what's going to seep in. Well, that's not a mystery. And so really, for instance, I have clients who say, I want minimal exposure to the world. And they devote themselves, through our conversations and investigations and explorations into truth. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I don't know.
Exactly.
But what it's not is not an exposure to the world. There's no good or bad. Even like exposure to the world is not bad. Like there's no bad. It's whatever you want. Whatever you want. Yeah. So, if you expose yourself to, if you expose yourself to, a room full of oranges, you will smell like oranges. It's just, that's just what it is. And so, I think a human has to get serious, and serious. Here's what seriousness is not. The majority of my exposure is to the world, but I don't want the world getting in, and I want truth. I mean, that's kind of, I can't say it's not going to happen. Anything's possible, but, to me, truth is the only thing that it actually exists. So it's the only thing to expose myself to. So I don't say that you should, but what I can say is expose yourself to the world is what gets everyone into problems to begin with. And if that continues to be, for whatever reason, one's major exposure, that is what's going to be inside them.
Hi. So I have two questions about truth. The first one is, how do you define truth, even like the word, how do you define it? And the second one is, in terms of that there can be many truths for specific aspects of the universe, for example, there's also a general truth about all of it. So if you have a concept of that or an understanding of that, how would you describe that of basically the truth?
It's not about definitions.
Hey, Kapil, my question is, when you are in very close relation to somebody, for example, your spouse, you are somewhat dedicated to the truth, or you want to find out what the truth is about the situations, but your spouse is not really dedicated towards finding truth.
How many people out of the population of the earth are even interested in truth? Forget dedicated.
Yes. So sorry, my question was, so you're gonna have children, and you don't want your children to get learn all the things, conditioning by the society, but your spouse is not really into those things, and but you have to take a decision. So I am really confused, but sometimes you can't really leave people because you love them, right? And I'm really confused how to make
I
that
cannot tell you how to
decision.
make anything, like what to do or anything like that. And of course, I don't. You can
Yes,
leave
I
people left
understand.
and right. I mean, you can't do that. So you didn't hear my original statement. You only heard it intellectually.
Hi, Kapil Gupta. I wanted to ask you a question about the nature of an artist. If I have struggled to stay true to my creative intelligence, how what exactly would be blocking me from expressing my fullest inner self? I wanted to ask that to you.
I don't know. It would depend upon who you are and all kinds of things and your DNA and your situation. There's no way that I can just blank answer that statement knowing nothing about you.
Okay.
Hello, Doctor. I have listened to you for a few years now, and I think, I'm not sure, but I think I understand that there is no direct answer to one finding truth or even starting the journey to learn the truth. But if there are layers of evidence based validations like biology, genetics, meditation, hormones, whatever, should that not at least be probably the baseline for one to start learning the truth? Because if it's not taught,
everyone comes
then
at it from whatever resonates with them. So you seem very science minded and all those things. And I'll tell you, people who are science minded are really as far away from the truth as possibly you can get. But that's just the DNA. It's just the science minded person typically doesn't have the bandwidth to understand truth because it doesn't fit into a test tube, or it doesn't fit into the peer reviewed studies, and it doesn't fit into the language and the terminology that you just used. So I mean, I'm not saying that's wrong or bad. I'm just saying truth doesn't go there. And if you want to pursue it by way of that, and if that's what you find to be so-called evidence-based validation, then you're free to do so.
You talked about in your books like transcending the mind, and I like the mind is your enemy. I had a question. After you transcend the mind, and I'm not asking you how, right? But after
I'm just going to cut you off there because it's kind of like saying, okay, like after you go to that city, what do you do when you get there? It's all theoretical based question, right? It's just it's just chit chat. So it wouldn't. So I could tell you, oh, you would do this. So what? Like I could tell you whatever I want, right? And it won't. It has no meaning. So I think the only things that really have relevance are the things that are not intellectual and the things that are acute to the individual himself. That are not simply intellectual curiosities to chit chat about. I think the things that are most acute in one's life are the things that are the most relevant to him on a visceral level.
Got it. Yeah, because my problem is when I read that you said that the mind chases pleasure, right? And the mind always chases pleasure. I started to become aware of that. And it did provide me some improvements of my like performance and choices and awareness of my choices. But I'm trying to understand, right? How do I see like I wasn't aware of that before. So is it all exposure that provides that awareness in general?
Well, I mean, it was exposure that made you aware that the mind chases pleasure, right? So prior to that exposure, you weren't aware of that.
Correct.
So, I mean, I think it's safe to say there's more where that came from, and it just how deep one dives into it, how far one goes. It depends upon the depth of one's desire to go there.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Hi, Kapil. To be honest, I didn't think this question through too much. Something that's been on my mind, probably, sporadically the last few weeks. It's actually something I've been dealing with for a long time. For probably 4 or 5 years, I discovered your work maybe 2, 3 years ago is when I started to sort of get a clear picture of, not a clear picture, of what I think is going on inside of me. You said on your last space or a couple spaces ago that sometimes the truth can hit someone and make them, pretty much apathetic about life or certain things by learning the secrets of the universe or whatever it is that they learn. And to be quite honest with you, I don't really know what to ask about this feeling. I just want to know if I want to know if finding more truth is only going to make me or could make anyone more apathetic.
There's no way that I can predict that. The truth hits everyone differently, and to some it doesn't hit at all, and to some it hits and that's a complete alchemy between the truth and the human being. There's no way that I can predict. There's nothing I can say as to what will happen with one person versus another.
Hello, Dr. Gupta. Thank you so much, for giving me the opportunity to speak. My question is, do I need to achieve financial freedom before I can achieve freedom of mind, freedom in life?
I mean, that's not really even a question that needs to be asked because, are you going to go off and live in a cave?
Yes, that was my point because I have a family. I need to support my family. So what I noticed is if I'm not like financially free, I cannot do anything. I cannot like excel in my craft. I cannot achieve.
So then you already have your answer.
So in all scientific pursuits, there's always a problem, which is that the observer or the scientist is first and foremost a conscious observer, and he basically can never get out of his consciousness. You can never actually make an objective observation of the thing. And so my question is this the truth that you're talking about, the consciousness that is first and foremost always there, and the impossibility to basically prove any existence beyond this consciousness?
The answer to that was no.
Thanks for letting me in. I just have a disclaimer. I'm not an effective communicator, but I just want to share my experience of your work. I came across your work in about 2020, and it took me literally years to even comprehend and to even understand where you're coming from. Because in my personal opinion, I think your work should be taken in microdoses. And it just, since the moment I read your work and listened to you, it just hit me as a full buffet. Like it was so hard for me through the course of so many years since I've been listening to you. I've listened to so many different podcasts of yours, so many different writings I've read. uh, I don't know, there is an app called SoundCloud where they have listed all your solo podcasts, right from limitlessness, right from so many different things. I don't know if they did it with your permission or without your permission. I just want to bring that to your notice. And there are so many YouTube pages about your work which I listen to constantly. uh, and I don't have a question, but I just want to make just put my point across to you that one of your podcasts which I profoundly resonate is limitlessness. And to me, your work should be closeted. It should not go beyond the four walls, because it is so sacred to me. And I just want to say thank you for existing. That is all, man. Thank you for existing. And I came across to your work organically. No one in my friend circle knew you. No one in my family knew you. I just came across your work organically. Like as they say, the tides of the ocean strive so much to reach to the skies, and the skies finally say, okay, I'm coming down upon you as form of rain. So I something internal was like struggling, fighting to find someone like you, and you just came organically into my life. So for me, in my opinion, your work should be closeted. And the questions, and to the audience who are listening to this, the questions that you're coming up to Kapil, I think you should at least have a 1 year discourse of reading or listening to his work to even comprehend where he's coming from, because every single word that this man speaks comes from the aspect of direct truth. Like, to even comprehend and understand that, it requires months and days or maybe even years. So, Kapil, thank you for existing, my man. You're the best.
Thank you.